Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Alvin Adjay. I am president of the Houston Young Lawyers Association. I am very excited for the Solo and Small Firm CLE. That's a tools from Harris County Law Library. We have a wonderful speaker, Miss Sabrina Davis. She is a graduate of the University of Arizona. She got her JD from the University of Arizona. She also got her master's in library science from the University of Arizona. She is the digital outreach law librarian, and she has a wonderful presentation for our group today. And with that being said, I do want to let everyone know that if you have any questions, you can put them in the chat. And then at the end of her presentation, I'll make sure that they're asked or that they are answered. And then also the CLE credit number will be posted in the chat towards the end of this presentation. And so with that being said, Ms. Davis, I'll let you take it away.
Thank you. Hi, as Alvin said, I'm Sabrina Davis, and I'm happy to talk to you today. I am going to be turning my video off for the presentation, but then I'll turn it back on for questions at the end. So let's do that. Okay, so let's get started. I do have a lot of content for you today. And we already went over all that. So just to give you some context for this presentation, why we help you. Solo and general practitioners have unique needs. The research costs, especially for secondary sources, significantly increase overhead. You're more likely to handle diverse caseload and less likely to have the in-office support that makes your job easier. And so that's why we help. Why you should care about this, however, is the disciplinary rules of professional conduct. In the preamble number 2, you're required to provide clients with an informed understanding of legal rights and obligations. To do that, you need to know where to look and how to find the law. So in this presentation, I'm going to discuss some tools to help you do this. In addition, Rule 1.01, Comment 8 concerns the proficient and competent practice of law, including the benefits, understanding the benefits and risks associated with relevant technology. Relevant technology includes legal research tools, which we're going to talk about today. And there's also in 1.01 a requirement that you should engage in continuing study and education, which not only is this presentation, but we offer many free CLEs and other training opportunities that we'll talk about today. So roadmap, we're going to talk in 3 sections today. First, a brief overview of the law library to give you context about where we're coming from, some ways we can help you, and then because our physical location is closed currently due to the COVID threat level in the Harris County, I also put together a lot of free resources from around the web that can help you with legal research. First, our law library. We were established October 1st in 1915, so we just celebrated our 106th anniversary. And on September 15th, 1941, the Harris County Commissioner's Court effectively converted the library from a subscriber's library, where members paid to get access to materials, into a public institution with free access to everyone. And then in 2011, the law library joined the Office of the Harris County Attorney. This is our current mission statement. Not only is it our current mission statement, it was the first mission statement of the law library. It was adopted in 2012. Essentially, it boils down to our tagline, promoting open and equal access to justice for all. In keeping with this spirit, we took action in 2021 to address a historical wrong. And that wrong occurred to Mr. Robert W. Hainsworth, as well as other Black attorneys in Houston. So when Robert W. Hainsworth returned to Houston following graduation from Howard University School of Law in 1949, he faced a segregated courthouse and law library. At the library, he was required to sit at a specific table designated by the sign that read colored. He challenged this practice as unconstitutional and sued for open and equal access for all. The case was Hainsworth versus the Harris County Commissioner's Court in 1951. He lost. When his appeals were denied in the Texas courts, he then appealed to the US Supreme Court in 1954. However, even though just months prior, the court had declared separate but equal and inherently unequal, the US Supreme Court rejected his appeal. And although it's not rectifying the wrongs done to him, on February 9th, 2021, the Harris County Commissioner's Court approved our resolution to rededicate the library. So we are now the Harris County Robert W. Hainsworth Law Library. So as I mentioned, while the Harris County COVID threat level is currently at level 1, severe, or red if you prefer colors, our physical location will remain closed. During this time, you can reach us by phone or email, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. The easiest way to do that is if you go to our website, harriscountylawlibrary.org. We now have an Ask a Librarian tab that follows every web page on our website on the right-hand side. So you can just click that any page you're on and get to our virtual reference desk. And from there, you can email us. Okay, so that's our overview of the law library, the ways we can help. First, by providing access to legal databases and software. These resources are available on site at the library or through the law library with with remote database access. And I'm going to talk about where you can find each of these. Remote database access. Oh, let me interrupt here for a second. I will be sending these slides to HYLA after the presentation, so they'll be sent to you. So you'll have these hyperlinks available for you. So you don't need to memorize website addresses or anything like that.
Thank you.
So we are closed. However, we've negotiated remote database access for our patrons for Lexis and Westlaw. However, these are limited temporary offerings. So they're limited time for each of them. They have different time requirements. And they're also limited in the fact that once we reopen, this access will not be available any longer. But for today, I'm just going to highlight or review a few things about these databases that you may not know. Starting with Lexis, I don't know how many of you do advanced searches, but it's a little confusing. So I just thought I'd take just a minute to describe this. So if you go to the advanced search function, they have places you can add terms to create your Boolean searches, your advanced search techniques. However, these first terms here, as soon as you enter them, well, not as soon as, but after you finish entering them, make sure you click add next to the terms, and that'll put it up in the search bar. Otherwise, if you don't, when you hit search, which is the little red magnifying glass, it just says you haven't selected anything. And now I want to highlight a few resources available on Lexis through our patron access. We do have access to Texas bill tracking reports. So it's current through the current legislative session back through 1989. So this contains a summary and legislative chronology of all the legislation in those states. We also have access to Texas Attorney General opinions. you might be familiar with these on Westlaw, but actually on Lexis, it goes back all the way to 1891. So there is some more coverage compared to Westlaw. You have access to Texas jury verdicts and settlements if you're preparing for litigation. And also the Houston Code of Ordinances, the Charter and the Code of Ordinances are available on Lexis. Secondary materials, I just wanted to point out a couple of things. We do have Dorsanio's Texas Litigation Guide through our Lexis subscription, as well as pattern jury charges for criminal and civil. Moving on to Westlaw, I just listed the secondary sources you have access to for Texas, as well as the forms. There's also a form finder in Westlaw that covers more ground than just those specific form databases. You also have free access to trial court orders, trial court documents, and again, jury verdicts and settlements. In addition, on Westlaw, patrons of our library have access to 3 Texas practice centers: estate planning, family law, and real property. These practice centers compile primary and secondary sources for you for that given topic, as well as forms and briefs onto one convenient landing page. You can search all the content, or you can click specify content to search, which is circled on red on the screen, to select particular sources. Next, while remote patron access to Lexis and Westlaw is tied to our being closed, all law library patrons have unlimited ongoing access to the Lexisnexis digital library, which includes over 100 ebooks. You can link or sign up for an account on our website, and that hyperlink there will take you to it. But if you want to navigate it yourself, it's harriscountylawlibrary.org. There's a tab called Legal Research, and under that, it's in the ebook collection. In addition, there's an app for the Lexisnexis digital library for both Apple and Android. You can easily read and search inside ebooks and synchronize with the desktop app, so you can export annotations. To access it through the app, you will need to enter the library code, Harris County Law, and then sign in as usual with your username and password. And coming soon, we're excited to announce that we will be adding over 750 ebooks from the ABA to our digital collection. You can follow us on social media or our blog or newsletter to get the latest updates on when this will be available. So once we reopen, patrons will again have access on site to Hein Online. If you haven't used Hein Online, it's a great resource for legal periodical research. It has, I'm going to say, the most extensive collection of legal journals in any database. It certainly has more than Westlaw or Lexis. It's also great for legislative history research. There is an entire U.S. federal legislative history library, as well as session laws library for states, including Texas. And one great thing about Hein Online, if you need official documentation, is all of their resources are scans of original documents, including cases. So the Westlaw Drafting Assistant is also available while on site at the law library. It's a tool for legal document analysis and review that can be used to catch common drafting errors. In the slides that you'll be receiving, there is also a link to the Drafting Assistant Essential User Guide, which will answer any question you possibly have about it. All you have to do is upload your brief or motion, and you can easily check your citation formats as well as the flags on cited primary sources. In addition, their deal proof check, which is that last image on the right, provides greater insights, such as issues with numbering, punctuation, inconsistent language, missing information, as well as other issues. Next, we have law practice management resources. We have many tools to help you run a law practice, including checklists, forms, form letters, and resources to help clients. For example, we have How to Manage Your Law Office available in print and also in the Lexisnexis digital library. This treatise covers everything you need to start, run, and manage a law office. It includes chapters on law office technology and technology risks and ethics issues, which would be good to familiarize yourself with in order to stay competent under Rule 1.01 of the Professional Conduct Code. In addition, in the last update of this treatise, an entire chapter was added related to the impacts of COVID. As we all know, many courts have switched to virtual hearings since March 2020. To help people adjust to this new way of doing things, the Harris County Hainsworth Law Library has created a webpage with helpful resources on virtual hearings in general and in using Zoom in particular. The highlight of our page is our 2 videos, Get Tech Ready for Your Virtual Hearing, which goes over what you need to do to prepare for your Zoom court hearing, and Zooming into your virtual hearing. These are great resources for clients new to virtual hearings. In addition, we've included a link to the Texas Free Wi-Fi map from the Texas State Law Library and Texas Law Help. And we've also included links to information on virtual hearings and court procedures to further assist you and your clients. Finally, this is not a resource directly related to our library, but I did want to call your attention to the Texas Bar Practice website on law practice management. It features free advice for all stages of a practice, from beginning to end and everything in between. There's also a specific section on practice technology, which might be a good idea to review. Last in this section of what the law library offers is training opportunities. We all know earning CLE credits is mandatory. In fact, 100% of solos need to stay up to speed, but only 25% say they get the training they need. The law library makes this last part easier by presenting and hosting free CLE opportunities for you year-round. Our Legal Tech Institute, sometimes abbreviated LTI, will celebrate its 5th anniversary next Wednesday, October 27th. LTI is a collection of free learning opportunities focused on the tech you need to do your legal work. We are currently offering 3 LTI courses. Free Legal Tech for Everyone is available on demand with CLE credit available through March 31st, 2022. It can be found on our LTI website, which is listed right there. Soon to be available on demand with CLE credit available until April 30th, 2022 is MS Word, Microsoft Word for legal work. That was just presented and recorded last week. And then finally, Microsoft Excel for legal work will be presented a week from Thursday, October 28th from 1 to 2 p.m. You can register on our website. If you go to the LTI webpage, which is this URL listed here, and go to course calendar, you'll see the registration link for Microsoft Word for legal work. In addition, we have prior year's LTI courses available on demand. While the CLE credit for these has expired, there is still a lot of useful information in these presentations. finally, we also offer free CLEs from Lexis and Westlaw, which we call vendor visits. They last 1 hour. Sometimes there is a portion of ethics credit. We do offer, we do try to provide a variety of topics, including legal research, like beginning, intermediate, and advanced, as well as other topics such as time management and advertising rules. While we don't currently have any scheduled for the next couple of months, you can look for more next year. And finally, because as I've said a couple of times, our physical location is closed, I also wanted to highlight some free websites that might be useful in legal research. The Wayback Machine from Internet Archive is my absolute favorite website. Currently, it has over 616 billion web pages captured over time. The Wayback Machine is useful for historical online research. It gives you glimpses of the same URL or web page at different points in time to compare content. Also, depending on the website, it may let you link out to pages that no longer exist, or even download PDFs that you can't find anywhere else. And this is a great tip for lawyers who might need to save the current edition of a web page for litigation. If you see that there is an option to save a page, this is on my screen in the upper right-hand corner. You just put the URL in and save the page, and it captures the web page as it appears right now for use in the future. And I'm sure you all know that attorneys licensed in Texas have free access to FastCase through the State Bar. This access includes free federal and state primary sources, while secondary sources are available for a price. There's also a FastCase app for Android or Apple. You can access those same primary sources through the app, and you can sync up the app with your desktop FastCase so that your saved documents appear on both. So this is great if you are on your way to court and don't want to take any quick access to a case or statute. You might not be aware that accounts with the Texas State Law Library are free for all Texas residents, and this can be invaluable. Through the library, you have access to many online legal databases, as well as over 500 ebooks on 50 legal topics. And one of these databases is Hein Online, which is a great way to access it while we are closed. And you should note that you do have to be in Texas to request an account. A user's location is IP authenticated. And then in addition, you need to have JavaScript enabled for your account to be approved. The account lasts 6 months, but it can be renewed indefinitely. However, that same authentication process applies to each renewal. And you may notice on this slide, I included FastCase. And the reason for that is accessing FastCase through the Texas State Law Library gets you access to some secondary sources for free. In particular, the James Publishing resources. It might be hard to see, but that last one down there is Texas Small Firm Practice Tools. In there, you'll find checklists for a variety of cases, including civil litigation, car accident, divorce, real estate. And there's over 560 Texas forms in 16 practice areas. Next, Google Scholar. I don't know if you've ever used Google Scholar, but it's great for searching for articles and case law. This screenshot is an article search for right of publicity. One thing that's very handy is if you are logged in to Hein Online and through any account available, including Texas State Law Library, you can automatically go to that document when you find it if it's available in your Hein Online subscription. So you would just click on the right where it's circled, and it will take you directly to that article. The default for Google Scholar is searching articles. To switch to case law, you just need to click on the little button next to case law. And if you're in Texas, the default jurisdictions are federal courts and Texas courts. If you need to change your jurisdiction, just hit select courts, which brings you to this page, and you can select as many jurisdictions as you want. And then just when you're done, click done. And so this shows a right of publicity search for case law. You'll see on the left-hand side, you can change your jurisdiction again. You can filter by year, or you can sort by relevance or date, and you can create an alert if you need to keep track of this in case law, a particular search in case law. This expanded view here of Kimbrough v. Coca-Cola, I did this to show you these little tools at the bottom here. A star equals save. So when logged into a Google account, you can save that case. The little quotation mark opens up the citation window. Please note that only the Blue Book citation is available. So if you are trying to get a state-specific citation format, that's not going to work. And I don't know how many lawyers use online citation management tools, but you can export it there. And that's what the BibTeX and Note RefMan and RefWorks are. Just a quick note on legislative history research for Texas. The Legislative Reference Library of Texas is the place to go. In the Legislative Archive system, you can search by bill number or session law chapter number, going back to the first regular session in 1846. Legislative history documents may include the bill file, committee reports, fiscal notes, etc. In addition, if you need some hearing testimony, you may be in luck with the Texas Digital Archive. So House of Representatives for Texas Republican recordings are included for the 57th and 63rd through 68th legislative sessions, while Senate recordings are from the 62nd to 79th legislative sessions. In addition, the Texas Digital Archive includes manuscripts, online exhibits, prints, and photos. And they have special collections on the Republic of Texas and World War I for those history buffs out there. The HathiTrust Digital Library, is a really good place to go for historical government documents. Their U.S. federal documents collection, you can see, has over 1.3 million items in the collection. There are 30 subject filters and 30 author filters you can choose by, select by, sort by, search by. These documents, or the authors, include agencies, bureaus, and more. Once you find a document, you can search the text within the document. You can then download the document, and you can download in PDF, a text format, JPEG, or TIFF. And then I wanted to bring your attention to the Portal to Texas History, which is operated and managed by UNT. Some of the collections you may be interested in here are the Texas Register collection, which has Texas Register going back to 1976, and it is the official archive of the Texas Register. There's also Attorney General opinions going back to 1939. While this doesn't go back as far as the Lexis collection does, just keep in mind that these are free. This is a free website. And then finally, Texas State Publications. So this is a collection of materials produced by the state. It includes agency annual reports, legislative publications, statistical reports, and state government reports and periodicals. You can also access the 2018 Texas Family Law Procedures Manual and Pattern Jury Charges through 2018. And again, PDFs are available for download from this website as well. And then, even if you're not doing pro bono work, the probonotexas.org has a lot of free resources available. In their library, you can access guides, samples, sample forms, articles, checklists, and other resources on 29 different topics. Next chapter is relevant if you're doing a pro bono bankruptcy case. It has a lot of helpful information and resources there. And then finally, Westlaw Doc and Form Builder is free for attorneys working on pro bono cases. This is an online legal document assembly tool that helps you draft pleadings and other documents. According to Westlaw, they keep the forms and case law updated for you. You just enter your case-specific information and it will generate a document. And finally, because we're librarians, we like to suggest further reading. So Ex Libris Juris is the official blog of the Harris County Hainsworth Law Library. You can follow us there. Texas Bar Blog also has great timely topics. And then the State Bar of Texas Knowledge Center. Well, this is a free resource that with content designed to be helpful in your practice. However, it is vendor-sponsored content. So by downloading content from that page, you may be contacted by a vendor. And that's all I have. So Alvin, were there any questions?
I don't see any questions in the chat, but we can give it a minute or two and see if there's any that pop up. Okay, so one of the questions we got is, how do we become a member of the library?
If you're talking about the Harris County Hainsworth Law Library, we don't have memberships. We are free and open to everyone in the public. So we are not, to clarify, we're not a lending library, so you can't borrow our materials. You can access them here or through our various online options. And we do, for those of you who work downtown, we have a small collection of Harris County Public Library books available. And you can also, when we're open, use us as a hold library to pick up your Harris County Public Library books.
And does the Law Library provide any CLE programs other than this one, of course?
Yes, those were the Legal Tech Institute programs I was talking about. So there are 3 currently. One's available on demand on our website. One will be on demand soon, and the other is being held live next Thursday, which you can register for on our website. In addition, we do those vendor visits from Lexis and Westlaw. Those are CLE credits for 1 hour. And yeah, and we occasionally do other programs as well. So we have an exciting one in the works for February, but I'm not sure what I'm allowed to say about it. So just follow us on social media to get updates on that.
Okay. And then, well, what type of assistance is available to pro se individuals?
So most of our pro se litigants are requesting forms or legal advice. And we cannot provide legal advice because we're not practicing attorneys. And so in that case, we refer them to various legal aid organizations or lawyer referral services. For the forms, because under unauthorized practice of law, telling them specifically which form they need to use is frowned upon. But we do provide them options, let them review it, ask them to review it to see if it meets their needs, that kind of thing. If we can provide more help to them, we also refer out like to texaslawhelp.org a lot because they have a number of resources for family law cases, which is the majority of our cases. We can also provide more help when we're open to the public because we can show them how to use the index for like a legal encyclopedia or statutes and things like that.
And then do you have any programming that will be available in February that you want to discuss?
Well, aside from the one I'm not sure I can discuss yet, I actually was tasked on Monday by my Deputy Director, Joe Lawson, to start planning the calendar for next year. So we don't quite yet know what's going to be offered each month. But it will be updated on our website. And we are launching a new events calendar. It's offline. Well, we have our library events right now, but we're launching a new calendar probably in December. And so you can check back on our website later on for more events next year.
I guess one of the questions that we received was, how has the pandemic affected the access of pro se individuals to your resources?
Unfortunately, due to the digital divide, it has greatly impacted their access to our resources. We are available by phone, and we do get a lot of pro se litigants calling us by phone or by email. And like I said, a lot of times it's requests for forms, and so we can accommodate that. A lot of, what else was I gonna say? Sorry, I lost my train of thought.
No, no worries.
So
you've been getting a lot of phone calls in order to make up for the fact that you can't meet with
right.
pro se individuals in person.
Right. Yeah, and so if it's requests for forms, when we get a phone call, we are able to email the patrons if they can provide us with an email, which is a new service started prior to the pandemic. We didn't offer email support for our reference services.
And then I think this one's for you. It says you can talk about the program.
Okay, Marianne. We will be doing a CLE on the Korematsu case. So that's related to the Japanese internment during World War II. And I don't have much more information to share. I can't remember the exact date. I want to say February 16th, but that could be wrong. So don't hold me to that. But it will be CLE credit. And it should be very interesting as well. We have two of the lawyers who represented Mr. Korematsu in his case in the 80s coming to speak with us.
And then I guess one follow-up question. So you said that regarding it was Fast Case and Hein Online, we can get access to that, you said, for 6 months. And then is that correct? And then two, regarding, I guess, Westlaw and Lexisnexis, is that also term limited or for remote access?
So Fast Case and Hein Online are through the Texas State Law Library, not through us. And so they offer 6-month accounts that can be renewed. Their account can be renewed every 6 months, so indefinitely. So you can have continuing access to those. But you would need to go to the Texas State Law Library and get an account with them. So the time limits for our Lexis and Westlaw remote database access through the Harris County Hainsworth Law Library is much more limited than that, like by days and hours versus months. Yeah, that's where we're at. And I did want to say one more thing about our pro se litigants. We are introducing a new self-help video series. Our first webinar will be November 11th with Maria Lowry, who practices family and probate in Houston. And that's going to be a family law basics webinar that we're going to divide into, I think, 10 short video segments after the webinar for people to use. And that's just the first in our self-help video series. We have other topics planned as well.
Okay, well, thank you so much. I don't see any other questions or anything else that you want to share, I think, before we wrap it up.
I think I'm good. And like, as I said, you'll have access to my slides, including the notes pages, once I go correct a couple of typos I noticed. So it has all the links you should need in there.
Well, thank you so much for your presentation, Sabrina. I found it to be really informative. For anyone that came on late, the CLE credit number, it's 174127282. I'll put it again back in the chat. And thank you again so much.
You're welcome. It's nice to be here.
All right. Well, we'll have our next event that will be next month. So look out for the flyer for that presentation. And thank you again for all of for our speakers and for the presentation, particularly from the Law Library. And look forward to seeing you all again next month.